What's poppin' and welcome back to a brand new video. As you know, what I've been saying in the last couple of videos and what I've been working on these last couple of videos is something brand new. As in something that I haven't done before on this channel or really explained before on this channel. So I thought now I'd take a little bit of a time to explain what it is that I've been building now and how it differs from the whole Wonder Sagas that you've seen like 59 episodes of, and kind of what I'm planning to do in the future with this, and also show you the app that I've actually built, because this app I built in like a month and a half. It's quite crazy because now I have this beta version on my phone which I'm about to show you in a second, and this took me probably 6 weeks to build this, whereas the Wonder Sagas app that took like 9 months to build. Okay, it probably took 6 months to build the beta version. It's a little bit more complicated because that deals with audio and that kind of stuff, which is slightly more complicated, but still shows how much I've improved in building apps, how much easier this was, how much quicker it was, and how much more efficient I've gotten at it. But quickly, so this app is called Arborster. What it is for arborists. An arborist is someone who works with like maintaining, cutting trees, hedges, etc. They're basically like a tree surgeon, I guess they're called in some countries. And what they do is that they maintain trees for people, they cut off dead branches, they fell trees that are in like tricky places. If they're close to a house, for example, you might hire an arborist because they can cut it in sections. It's a relatively niche industry, and I've kind of got like a hobby business partner who will be working with me on this. I will be building the app, which is what I'm doing like in the evenings and on the weekends, and then he will be marketing it and responsible for that part, so should be quite exciting. But essentially it's a calendar app. So first of all, they can schedule jobs. For example, if you have an upcoming job at a particular place, you'll schedule that, and then you can see when you have to do it. Like you'll see your rate, you'll see what time it is, the address, etc., which is pretty good. Then you can keep track of your gear. So like they have a lot of gear, like carabiners, helmets, ropes, all that kind of stuff, which you need to be really careful with and keep track of, because ropes, they expire after a certain amount of time. So once you've had the rope for like 5 years, you can't use that rope anymore because it's been used enough or whatever. So you gotta be really careful with all of those safety things. So we're putting that in the app so you can keep track of this and be more safe in this particular job. Also, there's another thing called risk assessments, which is something that they have to do before every job, and what they do then is that they assess the overall risk of the job that they're doing. So if they're climbing in a tree on a rainy day in the cold and in the dark, maybe that's a super high risk job, but they need to make sure to evaluate those risks to make sure that okay, the risk is manageable and it's okay for us to do this job. And then they also need to track that, so they have a record of okay, was it okay to do this job, was it bad that I did this job, and in case there's an accident, like their insurance also needs that. That's essentially what we're gonna do. We're gonna have a job, we're gonna have the gear, and then we're gonna have a risk assessment for that particular job. But without further ado, let me get up the beta version of this app that I've built, and we're gonna head over to arborster.io. So it's gonna be called arborster.io. It's just a placeholder logo. We have no logo yet, so let me show you what it looks like. I hit the app and I'm taken to this little onboarding page. Welcome to Arborster. Then you can get a little bit of an intro, like the different pages we have, the different functions, etc., which looks pretty nice, I think. And then you get this let's get started. So we press let's get started, and then we can either sign up or we can log in. Now I have an account, so I'm just gonna press login, and we can either do with email or we can do with Google, which will be quite nice. It integrates with Google like this. Let's do it with Google. And again, this is a beta version, so there's some like error messages, etc., that I need to work on a little bit, but the app itself works pretty well. So this is what you get on the home page, is like the intro of the app, if you will. So you get a little overview of your profile picture, which is pulled from Google actually, and then you get a little overview of the jobs that you have upcoming. So for example, if I'm an arborist and I know, okay, this week what kind of jobs do I have, I can first scroll this list at the top and see what kind of jobs do I have that are upcoming. I can then view my calendar, so say today is Monday, I can then see, okay, today I have this stuff, on Tuesday I have nothing scheduled as of yet, on Monday these are the ones, for example. Yeah, pretty nice overview. Then we have a calendar view where you can view all of these different jobs. So for example, I can either change the date range to a particular one, so say we take 15th to 30th, I don't think we have any jobs then, exactly, or we can switch to this week and we can use the same view where you have just each day this week. Then we have a little overview of all of the jobs, so I can view all jobs, I can swipe left, view upcoming jobs, swipe left again, view cancel jobs, etc. And then we have completed jobs, in progress jobs. And to add a job, you just press this plus button and you're taken to this page, and you get this little default image. It just picks one of 20 images randomly, but then you can change the image yourself. I'll show you that in a second. And then you can change the job name, for example. Okay. And then we can take where the job is. I'm not sure if that's an actual road, I guess we'll find out when we press it. Then you can add a job description, etc. You can change the job status to cancelled to in progress. Now we have this upcoming. And then you can press the date. You can change the date with this nice date picker. You can change the time. You can also change whatever you're charging for the job. Say that this is an expensive one, you're charging 50,000 for, it's a big one for example. Then you can actually press this location, Sundbybergsvägen, and you'll be taken to the map, which is pretty nice. Oh, it was a road that existed, I didn't know. Relatively close to where I live too, interesting. But then heading back to the app here, then of course you can delete this particular job. And then also there are two other features. So for example, we can do risk assessment, and a risk assessment will be the evaluation of the safety of the job site. So I can then get this begin risk assessment, I'll press start, and then I'm taken to this page. And here I'll get a couple of questions like everyone has access to a charge phone, everyone has a tourniquet, everyone knows where to find first aid kit, and then there's a bunch of questions like, are you working on a road? Okay, then you need to consider these things. If you're have staff on the ground while you're doing this job, then you need to consider these things, for example. So there's a lot of these kinds of things. And then you get to the end and you'll have to evaluate all of this. So say before this the risk was medium, now the risk is eliminated entirely, there's no risk at all with this job, and the overall risk posed during this job is acceptable. Boom, then I'll press submit risk assessment and it's done. And then you can see this status changes to completed and it's marked green, which means that for this job I've now completed this risk assessment, which is what we want for each and every job. Then you can move on to your profile and we can see safety module. Here you have all of your risk assessments. So now I didn't give mine a name, so that's why it appears like this. Maybe this is something that I'll fix in the future. But you can see your past risk assessments here and all the status of them. So if I were to change the status of one of these, then they would show up as incomplete here. I also have some health information like my emergency contacts, like my blood type, allergies, that kind of stuff. In case there was something to happen at me on the job site, I can then show this to paramedics or whatever without having to really search for it. Then there's a gear part, which is this. And essentially, that's a picture I took of someone as an example. But essentially what this is just your gear. So you need to keep track of your gear, like how many saws do I have, how many ropes do I have, how long I've been using them for. So for example, this is a saw. You can categorize it like whatever this is accessories for example. And then you can check gear begin use date, if that's for example October 12th. And then the gear will expire in 2029. So then you can also have this nice feature where you can check the gear serial number. So for demonstration purposes, I'm going to be using this phone case. I can press this little button here and it will bring up a QR code. And I can either scan that and I get the website, or I can scan the barcode and it will take the particular barcode, so the serial number of that product. So that works really well and it works really nicely, and you can keep track of all this gear. And then per job, if I press this job for example, you can also have a gear checklist. So for this job, say I need a particular kind of gear, I can then select I need this rope, I need this helmet, I need this rope, I need this saw, and I need this harness. That's then all added to this particular job, so I know that when I go for this job I'm gonna need this type of gear. Maybe you want to do this for all the gear that you want to use, or maybe you just want to do this for certain pieces of gear that are like special or that you don't really carry with you all the time. Just as a reminder, for this job this is the gear that I do need to bring with me. And then same with the gear, you can also add new gear. And then you can use a photo. So for example, now we're gonna take a picture of this camera, for example. Boom, that's recording this very nice YouTube video. We'll press use photo. Now we need to add some kind of loader indicator here, but it is uploading in the background, and as you can see, there we have the camera that's recording this very YouTube video. We just entered the matrix big time, boom. But yeah, cool, that is it. And I think that's a pretty brief overview of this app as a whole. Then there's some other stuff, like you can edit your profile info. There's an about the app section where you can view like licenses and all that kind of boring stuff, but that you do need to keep in the app. And then there will be a subscription page once we have done this beta test, so that you can subscribe to whatever packages that we decide to offer. And then of course you can also change your profile picture. If you go to edit profile, you can then take a photo, just take a selfie. We'll press use photo, it will then upload this photo as a profile picture. Works the same with the job site picture, for example. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this app. There will be some features that I'm gonna add later on, but this is the beta version. I think it works quite well, and it has all of the main features. There are some bugs, some quirks that I need to work out, but the majority of it works pretty nicely. And I'm super happy that I managed to do this in such a short period of time. And I've spent like so many weekends, like probably hundreds of hours. This is 14,000 lines of code. And I've spent probably every weekend for the last 2 months working on this, and like a lot of evenings, a lot of nights, etc. Because I still go to my job from like 8 to 5:30 every day. So I had to do this on the side, which is what makes it so much fun. That's it. I hope I gave you a little bit of an overview of this thing that I've been building, this mystery thing. I didn't want to give too much away in the beginning in case someone tried to copy it. I don't think that's very likely since it's very niche and it's not anything anyone's done before, so I don't think there's a reason anyone will copy it now. So there you have it. If you want to see how this app develops and what it's like when I go back to working on Wonder Sagas again, then please consider subscribing, leave a like down below if you like this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.